Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dan from Steel Camel. Some people call me Professor Dan. Today's video, we are going to talk about the 6 tips to remove small water droplets from your air compressor system. And why are we going to talk about small water droplets? Is because the small water droplets absolutely kill your paint job and kill your air tools. Tip number 1. Empty your air compressor water through the water trap right here early and often. As we know, water builds up, and some people let it build up and then they emptied it too late and that water gets into your system. So please go to your water trap and empty it early and often. Tip number 2 is, where do you put the filter in your system? In this diagram, we have the compressor over here. The air goes through a series of pipes, goes through another pipe, and goes into your hose, and eventually it goes to your gun. So would you want to put the filter here, close to the air compressor, or next to the paint gun or your tool? I'm going to explain why it's important to put it over here, okay? Yes, it will get a lot of water right here, but what happens after the air leaves the filter, it goes through these pipes, and not all the air is heavy enough when it condenses to fall down, okay? So even though you empty these out every day, guess what? There's still water molecules up here, and they develop because the air has to work harder. It heats up, and when things cool down, they condense, and that will get into your hose. So it's important to put the air filter as close to the gun as possible. In tip number 2, we talked about filter location. This leads me into tip number 3, which is to avoid excess piping. In this diagram, you will see a lot of copper tubing going up and down, across, up and down and across. Sounds good in theory, because you can empty the water trap all the time. However, with the copper, it's hard to see if moisture is building up. Okay, and a lot of moisture, if the temperature doesn't drop as much, will stay up in the pipes and not fall all the way down. And so what happens, as the air goes through, the air has to work. It gets warmer, okay? And that warm air carries moisture, will go through your filter. So we want to avoid the air having to work harder than it should. So my tip to you is to avoid excess piping, and definitely avoid up and down. Try and have a straight line of your piping, and your air will not have to work as hard. Tip number 4 is to choose your water trap wisely. Okay, Steel Camel uses these water traps / water trap regulator, and they are clear, so you can see the big droplets forming. And how they work is the water goes through, there's a little thing in here that spins it, centrifugal force, and it moves the water out to the edge of this glass, and then there's a little thing here, you can empty your water trap. You really want to have a clear water trap so you can see the big droplets forming, and so you can empty it in a timely manner. So choose your water trap wisely. Tip number 5. What to do with the beads. The beads have been around for a long time. Basically, they're dried rocks or dried sand, silica beads, and they adsorb water. Most of our customers have beads and have switched to Steel Camel, but they spent a lot of money to buy a bead filter. So what do you do with them? In our case, I'm going to show you why it's good to keep the beads in your system. I'm going to show you the difference between ours and theirs. Okay, as you can see, this is already dry. But guess what? The beads are still wet. So how the beads work is they adsorb water. The water is still there, and you can see it drips off the beads. With our technology, there's no more water. But if you spent $200 or $300 or $400 on a filter with the beads, you should keep it, okay? Keep it and change the beads out regularly, but definitely put this at the end because this absorbs the small water droplets. Tip number 6 to remove small water droplets so they don't ruin your paint job and ruin your tools. You gotta make a decision at the final stage how you're gonna get the small water droplets. A lot of people in the industry use rolls of paper. This is a roll of paper towels, but there's very similar products out on the market, which is a very tightly wound paper, very compressed, and the water hits it, and it does work. It does get the small droplets. The problem with rolls of paper is they saturate pretty darn quick, and when they're saturated, they release the water. You don't know about it, and it gets into your system. We recommend this type of final water absorbing filter. This is the powder, which you saw, infused in between the filter paper and fiberglass, and the water droplets go through these pleats. You can see them, they're very large and they're very deep. This thing holds 15 ounces of water, and as the air goes through here, the small water droplets are trapped and held and not released into your system. Okay, to wrap up this video, we're going to review the 6 tips to remove the small water droplets from your air system so they don't kill your paint job and they don't kill your tools. Number 1, empty your water traps early and often. Get rid of the big water droplets, because if you have big water droplets, you're sure to have small water droplets. Number 2, filter placement. Avoid putting the filter too close to the compressor because water builds up after the filter, and then it will eventually get in your gun or your tool. So put the filter as close as you can to the tool or the gun. Number 3, avoid that excess piping. Try and eliminate any piping that goes up and down, up and down, up and down, because the water develops in there and not everything comes out. It all depends on the temperature. Number 4, get clear water traps. You really want to see the water develop so you can remove it. So avoid water traps that are opaque or you can't see through. 5, the beads. The beads have been around forever. I know a lot of you guys out there and girls have the beads already installed. Keep them, okay? Just make sure that you put a water absorbent after the beads to get the small water droplets. Finally, choose the right water absorption technology to remove the small droplets. Again, this one, killer, really removes the small water droplets, holds them, doesn't let them go. Much different than the rolls of paper. I'm hoping this information was helpful for you and you'll be able to avoid the small water droplets. Thanks for watching. If you need more information, look us up at steelcamel.com. Thanks for watching.